After you die, you'll end up in a bar, and whether you go to hell or heaven will be decided by a game that will define you as a human being and whether or not you lived your life fully. If you're a good person, then you'll go to heaven. If you're a bad person, you'll go to hell. This, in short, is the story of today's anime, Death Parade. Newly dead and newly married couple, Machiko and Dr. Takashi, enters a bar owned by an arbitrator named Decim. An arbitrator is a non-human creature hired by God to judge dead humans and sends them to heaven or hell. The couple doesn't know they're dead. They can't remember how they even got here. Decim doesn't tell them that they're dead. In order for the couple to get out, they have to play a game that will be chosen randomly as soon as they push a red button. At first, the couple refuses to do so, but accept after seeing there's no exit door. After pushing the button, the game chosen for the couple is darts. At first, Takashi is nice and caring to his wife, but during the game, Takashi remembers that he suspected his wife of cheating on him, so he confronts her about it, but she convinces him that this is not true. The game ends with Machiko as the winner. Thinking that he'll be killed if he loses, Takashi begs for a rematch, but his wife realizes that they're already dead after their car crashed during their honeymoon. Machiko reveals that she was cheating on Takashi and only married him for his money, tricking Decim into thinking that Takashi is a good man, or simply a simp. Takashi is enraged and attacks Machiko, but is knocked out by Decim. Decim sends them both off, Takashi to heaven for being a simp, and Machiko to hell for cheating on her husband. Nona, an arbitrator and Decim's boss, takes a black-haired woman, who is a human with no name or memories, to Decim's bar to watch Takashi and Machiko's dart game. While watching, Nona explains to the woman the rules of this place and how everything works. After the game, Nona hires the black-haired woman to be Decim's assistant to help him judge the guests. Two teenagers visit the bar, a boy named Shigeru, and a girl who doesn't remember her name. The game the two teenagers have to play is bowling. As they play, the two remember seeing each other in the bowling lounge. As the game progresses, the girl realizes her name is Chisato, and the two realize that they were childhood friends. At the end of the game, Chisato loses after realizing that she and Shigeru died because the bus they were on crashed. With little time left they have, Shigeru and Chisato ask Decim to allow them to date each other. After the two say goodbye, they're sent to heaven because they're both good people. After they're sent, Decim reveals that parts of Chisato's memories are still missing. She couldn't remember that her real name is Mai. Chisato is her childhood friend and the girl Shigeru loved. But after Chisato left with her family, Mai had a crush on Shigeru. In order to get his attention, Mai had plastic surgery to look like Chisato. She paid thousands of dollars on plastic surgery only to get her crush's attention? Well, who the hell are you to judge? Things we do for love. Next, a teenager named Yusuke and a TV star called Masaki visit the bar. Upon their arrival, Masaki thinks this is some kind of hidden camera show, so she tells Yusuke to act normal. Deacon has them play an arcade fighting game. Being a pro at gaming, Yusuke wins the first round. At round 2, Masaki gets lucky and wins the game after Decim uses his little device that causes Yusuke's controller to stop working. Before round 3, Decim tells Masaki there is no hidden camera show, making her think she'll get killed after she loses. So at round 3, Masaki grows desperate to win, and Decim causes her controller to stop working, reasoning that he has to create an extreme situation in order to test whether she'll give up to her emotions. This tactic exposes Masaki's darkness, as she does what every gaming newbie does best, and bashes Yusuke's head against the screen, knocking him out unconscious. Realizing what she did, Masaki asks Decim to call an ambulance, but Decim forces her to keep on playing, even with Yusuke unconscious. Before Masaki can win, Yusuke wakes up and gets back to the game, and the game ends in a draw with no winner. Just then, the two realize they're dead. Yusuke committed suicide due to his complicated personal problems, and Masaki was killed by her furious manager. At the end, Masaki is sent to hell, while Yusuke is sent to heaven. A man and a boy visit Decim's bar. After the man tells Decim he's been here before, he goes mad and takes the boy hostage. After Decim stops him and pins him to the wall, the boy puts the assistant to sleep. He suddenly turns to a man named Ginty, a fellow arbiter who owns another bar. Ginty is mad that Decim has the black-haired woman Nona hired as an assistant, so he attacks him but is stopped afterward by Nona. Later on, the assistant has a dream about a boy and a girl, Jimmy and Chavat, heroes of a children's comic book. Later on, two dead guests arrive at Ginty's bar. an energetic schoolgirl named Mayu, and a famous musician named Harada. Being a big fan of Harada, Mayu is so excited that she's in the same room with her favorite singer. Anyways, Ginty has them play a game of Twister, where the two have to dance on a panel with circles on it. They'll have to keep their hands and feet on the circles in order not to lose. Of course, the two enjoy the game at first. As the game progresses, Ginty puts them in a death situation where all of the panels are removed except for the panels they're standing on. Below them is a dark hole of deadly spikes. To save himself and win the game, Harada decides to push Mayu off, but doesn't do it after recalling how he drove his ex-girlfriend to suicide by breaking up with her. Mayu can't hold on, so she decides to sacrifice herself and let her favorite singer win. She falls to the hole. Too much devotion for a favorite celebrity. The game ends. Harada wins and Mayu survives the fall since the spikes are made of rubber. Just then, they remember how they died. Mayu slipped and hit her head on the bathroom floor, while Harada was killed by a bomb planted in his apartment by his dead girlfriend's sister. As Harada cries regretfully over his dead girlfriend and Mayu, who he thinks is dead, he's totally surprised to see her alive with new clothes. In an after-credits scene, the two dance and sing in front of the whole arbitrators. If you're enjoying this video, please smash the like button and subscribe. Later on, the assistant finds the Shavat book, which character she keeps dreaming about. At that moment, she starts recalling some of her memories and realizes she's dead. After she asks Decim about the book, he reveals it belonged to Quinn, the arbiter who was the previous owner of Decim's bar. Before Quinn gave the book to Decim, she gave him valuable advice. Have something you can value. Decim followed this advice, as he shows his assistant puppets he made that look like the guests who came to visit this bar because he values human lives, and make sure that those people won't become forgotten. Another two guests visit Decim's bar, a young man called Shimada and a detective named Tatsumi. Shortly before their arrival, Decim is informed that one of them is suspected of being a murderer. The two guests are told to play a game, but Tatsumi plays the law-abiding citizen and says that this is illegal. For this reason, Tatsumi and Shimada search for a way out. While doing so, Shimada finds a blood-stained knife in his bag. Now that there's no way out, the two guests have no choice but to play. The game chosen for them is air hockey. As they play, Tatsumi remembers his murdered wife, while Shimada recalls his beat-up and assaulted sister, Sei. Meanwhile, the assistant looks into the memories of the two men and finds out that they are both killers. As the two keep on playing, they both recall they were killers. Shimada turns out to have killed the guy who beat up his sister, and Tatsumi killed the man who killed his wife. After Shimada wins the game, Tatsumi remembers that he was actually killed by Shimada right after he killed his sister's attacker. Why? Because Shimada thought he was a friend of the attacker. In response, Tatsumi reveals he watched Sei get attacked and did nothing about it, enraging Shimada. This is the most disgusting thing to admit, even to your killer. Tatsumi justifies that if he stopped the attacker, then Tatsumi won't have a good reason to kill him. Hold on a sec. You can arrest him though, right? You're a cop, aren't you? In order to test whether Shimada will give up to his rage, Decim uses the opportunity to torture Tatsumi. The assistant tries to stop him, because by having someone torture someone else, Decim becomes just as bad as the people he sends to hell. Hearing this, Decim is shocked. Shimada is blinded by his rage as Tatsumi provokes him and tells him to go on and torture him. The assistant tries stopping Shimada from giving up to his rage, or his soul darkness, and torturing Tatsumi. If Shimada does so, he'll be sent to hell. But he fails to control his rage after Tatsumi provokes him into torturing him. Eventually, both men are sent to hell. Later on, Nona tells Decim to judge his assistant, because if he doesn't judge her, she'll turn into a dummy. If a human stays for too long, he'll turn into a dummy. After Decim tells this to his assistant, she accepts to be judged and therefore has to play a game. Shortly after, a new guest visits the bar. It's an old woman and an artist who draws picture comic books named Sachiko. Decim plays a card game with Sachiko and the assistant. Given that the images on the cards are her own drawings, Sachiko calmly deduces that she's dead. Sachiko then tells the story of Shavat after seeing Shavat's picture on a card. Given that Shavat is a book she used to read in her childhood, the assistant regains her memories and remembers that her name is Chiyuki. After the game ends, with Sachiko as the winner, Sachiko leaves and is sent to heaven. Mayu and Harada haven't been sent away. Harada is unconscious and Mayu wants him to awake, but Ginty tells Harada's soul is in hell. The only way to get him to awake is by choosing another human being to go to hell instead. She refuses and decides to go to hell in order to recover Harada's soul. Therefore, Ginty sends them to hell. Both turn into dummies on the way there. Meanwhile, Chiyuki does some ice skating after she remembers how she loved ice skating when she was alive, but she got injured in the knee, which is why she wasn't allowed to ice skate anymore. Not being able to pursue her passion, Chiyuki became depressed and committed suicide afterwards. Come on! Is life all about ice skating to this girl? Decim takes Chiyuki back to her own home, where she witnesses her mother crying over her. Decim offers her the chance to get her life back, in exchange for another human being's life. Chiyuki is about to accept, but refuses after remembering that the guests who came to the bar had lives that they value. She also cries, regretting how she didn't value her own life, causing her mother pain, causing Decim, the Emotionless, to start feeling human emotions and cry. At the end, Decim bids Chiyuki farewell with a smile and sends her to heaven. In the after-credit scene, Decim welcomes new visitors to his bar, which has a dummy exactly like Chiyuki on the side. If you want to value your own life, please like and subscribe to the channel before you find yourself at Decim's bar, wondering what will happen to you.